Hello. This is probably going to be a long video. Um, the thing is that I can't do this live, and I would prefer to do this live, but because I don't have enough subscribers in YouTube, I will just make a long video because I'm just going to be rambling anyway, and all my ramblings will be about guitar playing. Now, whenever I go out on the internet and doesn't matter which social media stream I see. There's always people asking about, I just bought a guitar. What do I learn first? What do I do first? I bought a guitar, but I don't know how to play, and I don't know what to do with the guitar. And there frequently also there are a bunch of people telling these other people, hey, I have this uh, beginner's course. Everybody's selling their own guitar course or something like that. Or they say, yeah, you should learn these scales, or yeah, you should start learning the guitar by learning music theory. A lot of things that people are told to do rather than just play the guitar. And I'm gonna here to tell you that before all this other stuff existed, if someone gave someone in the year 800 or even before that a guitar, then people would figure out how to play and make music with that instrument without all of the things that other people say are necessary. I'm talking about everyone, celebrities, um, your friends, everyone else that will constantly tell you that, specifically, they will tell you that you have to do this before you do this. Get the basics down before you start doing this. It's always get the basics down. Uh, I'm I've never taken a guitar lesson in my life. I hate music theory because for me, as old as I am, music theory is a waste of time. And in all the years I've watched people learn how to play instruments and listening to music, I have never ever seen music theory come into the formulation of anything. No one ever creates something and then says, yeah, according to music theory. They always say, well, according to music theory, you should do this, but I do this. So what you're doing is outside of what you learned, but yet you want to tell everyone else out there that they should learn what you learned. You spent 6 years trying to learn stuff, and then you go outside of that. Yeah, well, you gotta learn how to do this before you learn how to do that. But in actuality, you are not going outside of what you know. What you're doing is you're adding on top of what you already know. You're not going outside. But me, because I never did any of this stuff and I don't give it a care about any of it, then I'm clean. I'm totally devoid of any influence from the outside. I always see people constantly taking taking people constantly taking time to do a riff. A man, a woman, whoever will spend 6 hours, 6 days, 6 months trying to learn something from Mark Knopfler. Pairing. And then they will see that, yeah, I can play this particular thing or this particular way. Oh, I learned how to do this. I learned how to do that. I learned how to do this. And the problem with this is you are not learning, you are copying. Uh, if if I learned how to build a house and someone gave me the tools and showed me how to use the tools, would I go out and build a house exactly as the house that I learned how to build a house out of, or would I build something different? Would my endeavors lead me outside of architectural rules or go inside of architectural rules? Probably. But I would not. When you learn how to paint or do any other creative endeavor, you don't go to school to paint like Salvador Dali. You don't go. You may learn about Salvador Dali, Picasso, and the rest of them, but you are not going to be them and emulate them. You may idolize them a little bit, but you're not going to be who they are when they play music, paint paint a picture, or even invent something. I mean, if you consider yourself a Da Vinci, you're going to be an invention. You can learn all about electricity, but what you build with electricity may not be the same thing that Tesla did, may not be the same thing that Edison did. It might be something new. But if you stay within the rules of Edison and Tesla, then you will also always be building Edisons and Teslas. And so let's get down to this because I spent a lot of time talking and maybe my Bluetooth is finally working so the sound will be okay now. But I'm going to take my acoustic guitar here and then I am going to plug it in. And this acoustic guitar is a Yamaha half size, and I'm just going directly into the mix board, so there's no real amplification. There's no guitar amp, no modeling amp in between. There's just what you hear is me playing. Now, the first thing that you have to know is that computers, you know, the things everybody has in their hand nowadays, computers don't see music the way we see it. They only see it as a series of patterns. And those patterns can be just about any patterns. A lot of them are fractal patterns. I don't know if you're familiar with fractal patterns, but fractal patterns are where something always remains the same, but it's still within the same pattern generation. So you see something different as it grows and expands and contracts. But if you look closely enough, each one of those patterns being created is a part of the same pattern. And so when you get your guitar, you break it out of the box, I just want you to take it out, press on a string with your finger, and the thing you're going to do here is just going to start creating patterns, and you're going to try and memorize those patterns. My first pattern is I'm just going to strike a string, and then I'm going to go one fret down and strike the same string. Now that is a pattern. And I'm only using 2 notes, and that is a pattern. And this pattern, I can now I'm never going to change the notes. I'm just going to keep embellishing upon that pattern and using these same 2 frets.
Power off.
Okay, that you saw what I was doing there is I was just kind of taking those 2 notes and I can do things like switch up my hand and my thumb and my index finger. Now comes the second part of this lesson: syncopation. Syncopation is when you run the same pattern or multiple variances of that pattern. You run them together so that you get everything sounds like it's part of the one larger pattern, like this. And again, just the index and the thumb. Okay, now that is not a riff or anything. That is just me with my thumb and index finger playing the guitar. Now, it's like, yeah, but it's not a song. It's not a song. It has to be something that people recognize. Well, there is the mistake made that people only think that you're doing something when they recognize what you're doing. You're playing the guitar. And you can do things like this. You can even kind of play the same pattern. And what you can do when you're playing the pattern is you can sing to it. You can. I mean, if I were to do Somewhere Over the Rainbow, it would be a pattern that you would recognize immediately. That is a pattern, a simple pattern, and you recognize it immediately. So whenever you think about melodies and music and guitars and everything else, these are just, and your computer, like, as I said, that your computer knows that it's just a matter of patterns. This is why when they use copyright bots and things like that, that they always look, the copyright bots look for a certain pattern of music and vocals and certain pattern of vocals. They don't look for the actual song notes. No algorithm looks for song notes. It's just looking for a particular pattern that you're playing, and then say, oh yeah, well, you violated copyright law by playing this pattern. And this is why I don't think that, and this is why this is going to be a rambling, because this is why I hate copyright law. Copyright law only exists to protect corporations and larger businesses when they make an investment in music. It does not protect musicians at all. And we can see that today. We know that today, that copyright law has not protected any musician from AI. It has protected any musician from large companies stealing. Copyright law is only there to protect the big boys. And yes, I'm going to say it. It's there to protect the big boys, and those are white men. Copyright law has nothing to do with music or the music industry. It has a lot to do with money and white men having control over your resources. So the recognition of patterns is something that you'll come across as you learn how to play the guitar. And you'll want to do these patterns, because as I said, what happens is the people you're trying to get to listen to you will only listen to something that they are familiar with, or is loosely related to. You're playing something that is loosely related to something that they are familiar with. If you pick up a guitar and you start playing uh, Hotel California. Now, when I do something like this, I don't know a single note or chord of the song Hotel California. Now I can sing it and I can accompany myself on guitar, but I don't know how to play any riffs or any of the backgrounds or as I said, any of the things from Hotel California. But by using just those two simple, we were here, using those two notes, I'm going to show you why a lot of things that we are told about music is an illusion. Let's see if I can find Hotel California in my list here. And then I am going to sing for you a little bit. See if I can. Here we go. Okay. Now, again, we have. Okay, I'll tell you where I am. I'm on the third string and the third fret, the fourth string and the third fret. The third string and the fourth fret. So the third and fourth fret, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, on the third string, and I'm gonna show you how this illusion of creativity and how music theory has ruined creativity and allowed people to think that they can do something that they can't, that they are not really doing. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my head, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Now I'm going to use before I was just using the thumb, now I'm going to use the thumb and the index and kind of, so I can get a little bit more tempo variances. Warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. See, and so when I'm singing, I can also take the lyrics themselves and then try and replicate what I'm doing with my voice on the guitar. I had to stop for the night. I had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell. Now what I'm going to do is, since I've been on this third string all this time, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to move up and down, change the different strings. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night. And something as simple as just going through the strings becomes part of the melody. And you see, I'm just using all open. Excuse me, but I'm just using all open strings and just an important thing here is everybody wants to shred and everybody wants to play super fast, and you can get more music by going slow than you ever get by going fast because once you get up to a certain speed, a certain level, you can't change a melody from within itself when you get up to a certain tempo. If you get up to 180 beats per minute, then that is going to be 180 beats per minute, and it's going to sound exactly as it. Almost everything is going to sound similar at 180 beats per minute. But if you slow it down to 10, 20, 12, then it becomes something like this. It becomes somewhere on the over the rainbow. That's like at, I don't know, a 10 or 12, but you recognize it because you took time to play notes that in a pattern that people recognize. Now, I didn't use the original notes or chords or anything like that when I did Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I just played the pattern. And once I played that pattern, then you recognize it instantly. And that's what you want to start doing when you first get your guitar. Because learning bar chords, yeah, learning bar chords is a good thing, maybe. I don't know. But there are a lot of things like bar chords, but people always say that there are a lot of things that they will tell you that will make you a great guitar player, or make you more better guitar player, or make you famous. If you can play everyone's riff, if you can go through the entire catalog of SRV, the Rolling Stones, I mean, hell, if you can do Peter Gabriel, if you can do any, if you can just pick up anybody, celebrity, any one of note of celebrity, and take their music and just play their riffs, then sooner or later someone's gonna call you great or virtuoso, because hey, he can play everything. Yeah, well, this is you can copy everything, but you can't play everything. Many jazz musicians already know this, that copying someone's riff is not the same thing as playing a riff. If you play a riff, you want to play a riff that everybody else wants to copy. That's a riff. If you're doing something else, then you're just copying. Okay, also, people have a tendency to think that you are some kind of virtuoso when you start embellishing and playing in different genres. If you can play rock and roll, if you can shred like a rock and roller, or finger style like a flamenco guitar player, then if you start getting like all these genres packed in together into one person, then sooner or later someone's gonna go, oh yeah, that guy is so talented. They are so good because you can play all these genres. Now you can play all these genres, but you haven't done anything to create anything, and you can't, because I'll give you proof of why you can't do this when you start becoming a copier. And I'll give you the names of these people, and you will find out that, yes, they are famous and they are known, but they have not made anything new. They have not made anything real. The people that they emulate have made more. If they emulate Michael Jackson, or I don't know, Little Richard, or even Scott Joplin, that they are just still copying. They have not become the new Scott Joplin, or or the new Prince. They are just, I think in one movie, and I think in a television shows, a talented dilettante is what they said. And so you want to be careful when people start telling you this stuff. You can learn how to play different genres relatively okay and still be okay, and not learn everything, because you might have some kind of music that you love to play, and then you being able to play all this other stuff will get you notoriety, but it won't give you any enjoyment. Okay, also, I gotta say this because there are a lot of young musicians out there. Marcin from Poland, and there's Tim Henson, and I think there's another guy, Alasa or something like that. These virtuoso players and stuff like that. And okay, this stuff is okay, but this is just my opinion. My opinion. It's all it's trap music. Yeah, what it is, it's trap music, and it is soulless, because trap music is soulless and has no meaning. It has a place, but it is just trap music, and you can't create from it. You know, people want to go back to Polyphia and Marcin. Uh, the stuff that Marcin does on the guitar with all of this stuff with his fingers and thumbs and everything else, I consider this to be percussive nonsense. And this stuff that Polyphia does with the tapping, with everybody wants to do this finger tap. Now, this is a particular sound that you can get from finger tapping, but I think it's being overdone, mostly because if you can do all this finger tapping, then sooner or later someone's going to say, you're so talented. You're a great guitar player. And then there, for some reason or another, if you have studied classical guitar and you go note for note, string for string for string, and this hunt for perfection. The hunt for perfection by classical guitar players always seems to make people, oh, you must be a great guitar player because you're hunting for perfection. This is so much BS that I can't, and I don't want to get this demonetized, but you you cannot. Classical guitar players are just soldiers. They have been taught to do certain things to and do certain patterns, and those patterns will always remain in them throughout their entire life. Not that you can't make good money off of these patterns, because I tell you, flamenco and Spanish guitar, if you're gonna go do a party or something like that, if you're gonna be a money making musician, classical guitar is a good way to jump in. But don't for any moment think that just because you can play classical guitar styles and classical music, that you are some kind of the next greatest of all time. Something else which I really dislike is like, everyone says, yeah, who do you think is the greatest musician of all time? This has got to be the craziest question to ever ask anyone, because what you're asking someone to do is say that there is one person that is not only the best of the time period that they live in, they are better than anyone in a time period no one else has ever been in, and you're giving a comparative value to history that you have never lived in. And you're also assigning the greatest of all time to the future generations where people have not been born yet. Who knows who is going to be the next Bach, Beethoven, or in the year 3000. So to say someone is the greatest of all time to me is like meaningless fanboydom. Now, if you are a young person, all of this stuff that I'm telling you is probably going to hit very hard to you, because young people dominate the web, they dominate the internet. And young and pretty, if you're young and pretty and a fair musician, then you are going to get some notoriety from young people. If you're a 18-year-old good-looking girl or boy, then what will happen is someone will start idolizing you, either for your looks or the combination of your looks and your other talents. But this is a young man's thing. You know, as you grow older, you outgrow this type of thing. And number one on my list is, everyone will tell you, if they like what you play and you say something like, yeah, I learned this in music school, then they will automatically think for some reason that you are the best player in the world, simply because you said the words, oh, when I was in music school. That somehow learning music theory, going to music school, somehow makes you better than any other guitar player that ever existed. And yeah, we all know this is not true. This kind of goes hand in hand with the idea that if you're gonna have a guitar, then that a $50, this goes hand in hand with the idea that affordability affordability means that you are means virtuosity, means that you're great because you can afford a $25,000 guitar. Yeah, I have a guitar that's just like the one Mark Knopfler plays. Mark Knopfler plays this guitar, and so I bought one just like Mark Knopfler, so that means I'm great also. This mirroring, this emulation of people, and this is dangerous if you're going to learn, because you will always be comparing yourself to someone that you just can't really compare yourself to. Not only these people have different opportunities, different histories, they are different people. So having the same instrument as any as Stevie Ray Vaughan does not mean that you will ever be able to do what Stevie Ray Vaughan does with guitar, especially as Stevie Ray Vaughan has been, as he got older, he didn't do that many recordings, so it's hard for you to know what Stevie Ray Vaughan is in 2026 because he hasn't done any real recordings and released anything. So you can't compare yourself. You can go back to his old stuff, yes, but this doesn't really get you anywhere. Now, also, I want to talk about difficulty in doing certain things, like bar chords. Okay, if you spend more than an hour trying to learn how to do bar chords, and it doesn't happen for you, don't worry about it. If you can't spread your fingers to 5 frets over to get a certain sound or a certain note or chord, these spreading your fingers in a contortionist style and doing bar chords is hard, and you don't have to do it. There is nothing that says that playing any song it with simpler finger spacing, easier way to play is gonna sound bad. Now people might go, wow, it sounds slightly different, but no one is going to complain about it. For you to spend so much of your time trying to do these things and then to only be able to do them for 30 seconds or a minute is totally meaningless. Yeah, look, I learned this riff right here. Well, where does that get you? That you can do 60 seconds of a particular riff. You can't do 10 minutes of it, and you can't connect anything to that riff because in your head, the only thing you know is that riff. So don't think that because you know a bunch of riffs or you want to learn a bunch of riffs, that somehow this is going to connect you to greatness. All it is exercise. This is similar to a foot racer, someone that runs track. If you learn how to get off the line at gunshot, then it will make you a great starter. You sooner or later, you will be the greatest starter of a 100-meter dash that there ever was. But it will get you nowhere because you still have you got that split second you jump on everybody else, but you still got to run 100 meters and you still have to stay ahead of them. And it takes other talents other than what you have spent all this concentrated time on. It takes you have to round yourself out so you can actually win the race. And you won't do it because every time someone says something like, oh yeah, I learned how to do the best starting time, and then someone will come up to you and say, yeah, you're going to learn how to do this foot technique, then you will start learning how to do foot techniques, and then you'll find out, yeah, these foot techniques don't work for hurdles, and I have to run the hurdles. It's the obsession that people have with things that really don't matter in the end game. Yes, it matters now if you want to impress everyone. If you're going to impress everyone, if you want to raise your ego up, then yes, of course, this is going to be important to you. But in the long range of things, 10, 5 days from now, it might be important to you, but 5 years from now, it won't be as important. 15 years, it'll have no significant value whatsoever. 25 years of playing the guitar, all the stuff that you learn, will have no specific value to you whatsoever. This is lost time and education that could have been spent learning something else. If you want to spend your time learning different things, my recommendation to you is to learn different instruments. If you play the guitar, learn how to play the piano. If you play the piano and the guitar, then learn how to play the saxophone. This will get you somewhere. Learning how to different disciplines, learning to use your ear to hear what you play on guitar, learn how to use your ear to learn how to listen when you're on a cornet, because a cornet has the limitations of a cornet or something that you have to hear and learn. And this is very important to your future as a musician. Learning how to do that. Learning how to do a Rolling Stones riff is not going to make you money, and it's not going to make you happy, because you will not be able to create anything from that. There's nobody that says that they have done this except for a few cheaters out there, and I forgot to mention those guys. Those guys are people like John Bonamassa, John Mayer, Ed Sheeran, and rest of these are famous copycat celebrities. These guys are famous in certain groups of people and in certain countries, but none of us, none of them, for as great as people say they are, none of them has created one melody. Remember when I was playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Not one of them has created a chord progression or a melody that is memorable. Nothing that someone would go like, hey, I can play this now. None of it is memorable whatsoever. It is all just derivative nonsense. I mean, you listen to John Mayer, great. He's easy listening, and you might enjoy his music for a while. But to call this man one of the greats is simply not true. Now, even the greats aren't the greats. The greats are only great because they had good marketing back then. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the things that happened in the 60s and 70s could not happen nowadays because of the internet. So when someone says that they filled a stadium with 50,000 people, no one is going to contest that. Back in the 60s and 70s, they would just like, oh yeah, they must be wrong in the newspaper. You only had one point of failure in your story. But if you start saying things that are, you had 5 people come to a show, or 50 people come to a show, and you start saying things like, yeah, I played in front of a crowd of 50,000 people on this particular date, then you would have a hard time convincing people that you actually did this, because there's no getting around the video eye. Now, once you get down this pattern, now you want to find that there are some things about playing patterns. There will be a particular kind of pattern that you will have in your hand. It will be built in, but you have to find it. And you can't find it by going and playing everybody else's stuff and fighting against that pattern. Now, this is my pattern. Now, I have maybe 3 patterns that that you will find in all of my playing. There are three patterns that will probably be there. And as I find new patterns and I add them to those three, but I can play maybe around 12 different patterns and mix them up to get different kinds of music. That's about 12 different finger patterns. So that is a pattern. Now, it can be something that you learn or something, but this pattern, I found this pattern by just trying to find something that sounded good in my head. And so I found that this pattern, I liked it. I liked the sound of it. And so I use it almost all the time. And what happens is, usually what happens is, I have that bass pattern in there, and then I start modifying the bass pattern, and that creates another pattern that's on top of the other pattern. This is called layering. When you layer, you take that simple pattern that you and you layer it with something else. Okay, that's a. Then I layer it with. So I did as I layered on the bass pattern on top of the that third and fourth fret pattern. I take this and then I just modify it slightly with another pattern on top of it. The same pattern, just a different string. We're at about 45 minutes, 50 minutes right now, so I'm gonna just shut this down right now. But follow me or subscribe if you want more stuff like this, because there are a lot of people out there on YouTube and the rest of the internet that want to make a course or make money or anything else. I'm not getting paid to do this. I am very seriously doubt that it would ever happen. But the thing is that I'm just as of this moment, I am 67 years old, and I started playing the guitar back in 2019 when the pandemic hit, and so that kind of when you're in lockdown, you gotta find hobbies. And watching television was not a hobby that I was going to enjoy in Germany. So I thought, well, I have a bunch of friends that all play the guitar, so I'll buy a guitar and then maybe someone will teach me. And then I found out during lockdown that no one could teach me because we couldn't even see each other. So I started diddling around myself and then found that a lot of the stuff that I did not want to do, I'm not going to say that I could not do, I just did not want to do it. I didn't want to learn music theory because music theory could take up to 2 years to learn properly, and I didn't want to spend 2 years learning music theory. I some of the patterns that I was seeing as far as music patterns, I was I'm left-handed, so I'm playing a right-handed guitar, and so these patterns that you see that people seem to be able to replicate so easily are not easy to do in when you're transitioning from one side of the body to the other. And the result was that I had to find my own way through this particular maze of finding patterns. I had to find a pattern that I could play with my right hand, which is my weaker hand, on the strumming of the strings, and also something that would allow the dexterity and the dominance of the left hand to be on the fretboard. So that means that I had to discover new stuff by myself. And this is what I came up with. And I know you probably didn't enjoy this, and that this is a waste of time, but usually my videos only get 1 or 2 reviews anyway. So I'm gonna play this out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some patterns here, and then shut this down at 1 hour. So that's it. I'm gonna upload this and see what it gets me or does not get me.